Good morning, everyone. Good evening for our followers in the US. So we are again at our weekly live stream here, broadcasting from our studio in Chiang Mai. So today we're going to have a very special and kind of technical live stream. I'm going to be talking with one of my colleagues, Neil Davenport. You've seen he's joining right now. Hi, Neil. Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
From Thailand.
Anna, good to see you.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, so we're waiting for some other people to connect, hopefully. If not, just make sure you watch this live stream afterwards. It will be saved in our... Hi, guys. Okay, so we're here in our studio in Chiang Mai. Just a brief introduction. We're here in our studio in Chiang Mai with 5-meter open dome behind me, one of our first domes, which were manufactured by Fulldome.pro. Behind me here, you see this device. It's just a photo camera. Yeah, Neil will explain more of how we're going to use it and what for, right? And Neil, can you give us like your background? Where are you right now? What we're going to do today?
Right now, I'm in Victoria, Australia.
Lucky.
Weather's lovely, nice and sunny outside, and yes, enjoying things here.
Yeah, so, okay, we decided to do it together because Neil is one of our best experts in installation of the domes. He started to talk about domes, write about domes even before he started to install them. But right now he's one of the experts. Our manuals are so easy to use, pretty much the same as using of our domes and calibration system because of Neil, because he was the person who, and is the person who is writing all the manuals and making sure that they're as easy as our systems, Fulldome.pro systems. So that's why we asked Neil today to talk about the main features and main, points about calibration systems. So it's so easy for you guys to, to follow the manuals, to understand why we need the calibration system at all, why it is one of the main features of Fulldome.pro systems, why it's so important, what are the benefits. And if you have any questions, just make sure you write them here. Or if you don't have questions right now, you don't have the opportunity to join now, you can always ask us questions online. Okay? Okay, Neil, let's go.
Okay, thank you, Yana. So when I last spoke to you about projection systems, we touched on calibration briefly, but today we're going to focus on that and what are the benefits of auto calibration and why you need it. Auto calibration is what makes high quality, portable and temporary dome projection possible. It also makes projection for permanent domes more affordable and easier to maintain. So to get high resolution and brightness in a dome, we need to combine images from multiple projectors. Generally speaking, the larger the dome, the more projectors are used. And using traditional manual masking and blending of these images, it's a time-consuming process, and complexity of that process increased exponentially with the number of projectors used. And it took hours or sometimes days of repetitive measurements and adjustments in order to get a dome calibrated. And repetitive tasks are what computers excel at. So Fulldome.pro put the power of computing to work to automate the calibration process. So now, instead of being a chore, calibration is almost something to look forward to. And after spending a few hours setting up a dome for an event, calibration is probably the first opportunity you have to sit down and relax. And once you're ready, you can leave the dome and sit down and start the process from the iPad app or from a laptop, and kick it off, and then you've got time, if you're lucky, to go and get a coffee or or maybe even have a nap. And I know I've certainly been guilty of falling asleep during a calibration.
Yeah, you have big experience in installing both.
And when it's done, you've got a perfectly calibrated dome.
Yeah, so true.
So how does it work? Well, a camera with a fisheye lens is placed in the center of the dome and connected to the Fulldome.pro media server. And there's Jana pointing to it there. The position of the camera is checked with a test image, which appears on the iPad or computer screen. And if all is okay, you start the calibration. So the media server fires off.
Here is the laptop. Right now we're running the dome from this laptop. Yeah, and over there, you won't see it right now, but over there, a small box, black box, that's the media server to which this camera is connected right now. So we got ready for the live stream. Okay, Neil, go ahead.
So a series of patterns is shown for each projector, and from these, the system works out which part of the screen each projector is covering, what the orientation of each projector is, the intersections between the projectors, and where the edge of the screen is. And when 8 or more projectors are used, patterns from more than one projector can be analysed simultaneously. So even though we're adding projectors, we're not significantly increasing the amount of time a calibration takes. And then once we've calibrated once we've got that geometry worked out, the calibration moves on to doing the intensity. So a series of images with incrementally smaller differences in intensity are taken and analysed to balance out the black levels over the entire screen. And when the intensity is mapped then the intensity is mapped to achieve the brightest, evenly balanced white image. And this mapping is not just at the intersections of each projector, but over the entire screen. So because we're projecting on a curved surface, and some projectors may be far from perpendicular to the screen, particularly those that are pointed to the center of the screen, there may be significant differences in the brightness measured from the corners of a single projector, and adjustments are made for that accordingly. Usually, geometry, blacks and whites are the only options that need to be selected for calibration. In rare circumstances, it is also possible to calibrate for color and gamma, but usually this is not necessary. And in some situations, for example, at a festival where a projector has been bumped by a patron, it's possible to calibrate just the geometry and have the dome ready for the next audience in just a few minutes. And I think that's what we're going to show you in a few minutes.
Yeah, so we're going to show geometry calibration today, right? Because again, Neil, can you explain to us, like, we are doing just geometry right now because it's fast, of course, and another one is like you need totally black and like dark ambience to be able to do it, especially in open face dome, right?
Yes, so it's difficult to do a calibration for blacks and whites in this open dome where there's a bit of light coming in, and we're also under the dome recording a video with some lights and things there, so that would make that very difficult. Usually you'd be calibrating a dome in almost total darkness. But this scenario is the sort of thing that happens quite frequently at a festival where someone who may or may not be under the influence of something trips over something and knocks a projector.
Yeah, this is what we're going to show actually today, like we're creating the ambience of the festival. Yeah. Sure. So
sometimes it's possible to just
like
physically wobble the projector back into place, but other times you actually need to do calibration.
Okay, so in general, when you first set up the dome and the projection system, like the full process of calibration, including geometry, like blends, blacks, whites, colors, will be needed pretty much once, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if nothing has changed, like you didn't change the lamp of the projector, or you didn't like uninstall the whole projection system, the only thing you will need to do in your like daily or weekly or monthly maintenance is just to adjust the geometry from time to time?
Yes, and yeah, you come in the morning, switch the system on, just do a few quick checks, make sure everything's in alignment. If it is, you just proceed. If not, then you may take a few minutes to do a calibration.
Okay. Okay, so this is what we actually, because this system here in 5-meter diameter dome in the studio is obviously installed here for ages already, right? So that's why we didn't do the, you know, like the full process of calibration. We just checked the geometry today, and right now you can see that the image is fully, like it's nice, it's cohesive, it's calibrated, everything is fine, and we will show you later on the grid so you can see how it looks like in terms of, you know, like technical details, not the beautiful image which I have behind me right now. Yeah. Okay, so like in just a quick question in terms of like what was your fastest calibration and what was your longest calibration, like whether you go through the just, you know, easy 5-minute process, geometry process, or the full, you know, full process of calibration?
Fastest is probably about 3 minutes for quick geometry calibration.
Do you remember where was it? Which place, which installation?
I think probably more than one place, but
yeah.
at an event, an exhibition, something, a very quick calibration. But then sometimes a tricky situation with a lot of light coming in, it may take a little bit longer. And I just saw a question there about, does the calibration time depend on dome size?
Yeah.
Not directly. It may take a little bit longer if you have more projectors, but not significantly longer. And generally you have more projectors in a bigger dome. So it's not the dome size so much that is a function of time. It's the number of projectors. But even then, it's not a linear thing. Adding extra projectors doesn't add a lot of time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so another question which we always, like very often I would say, have from clients, especially who have medium and small size domes, and you partially covered it in like talking about projection systems, right, is number of the projectors for small size domes, right? So let's say we have 4 projectors in 5-meter diameter dome. Usually, you know, for those who got used to using single projector with fisheye lens, or it's kind of a lot, you know, like 4 projectors, it's a lot. And we always have to explain why 4 projectors are the best setup, like the most optimal setup for like small, medium-sized domes, and how long actually the installation and calibration will take time for, you know, for this projection. Because we always recommend to have 4 projectors for mobile installations, for when you need the setup to be done really quick, right? Hello?
Hello, yes, you just froze up for a while there.
Yeah, you too, but I didn't want to tell you. Okay, so back to the question, like what will be your comments for users of small domes and medium-sized domes in terms of whether 4 projectors are easy to install and calibrate, and how fast, and, you know, how you can compare it with a single projector, or, you know, usage of that, because this is very like famous and very often question.
Okay, well, obviously more projectors is slightly more complex than a single projector system. But the benefits of using multiple projectors outweigh that. We get better resolution, better brightness, and once the projectors are in place, it really doesn't take a lot of time to do that calibration. So it's, people think, oh, 4 projectors, that's a daunting prospect. In reality, it's not that daunting because we have this auto calibration that takes care of all that complexity for you.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal really, and, you know, again, like with our manuals and with the intuitive system which we have, it's really can be compared. Maybe it's not the same time as a single projector, but at the same time it's really fast, and the benefits of having high quality image on the dome really will compensate for the minimum time which you need for the installation, right? Okay, so maybe right now we will move on to the calibration process itself, right? And then afterwards, I will have to turn Neil off for now so you can have the bigger image of the dome. And then, like, meanwhile, if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to ask them. And then afterwards, we will add Neil back again, so we can wrap up and, you know, see if we have any more things to add, or maybe what we're doing here, Neil will have some corrections on that as well. Okay?
All right, well, I'll just have a
Okay.
coffee then.
Oh, yes, your tradition. See you. Okay, so as Neil explained, we have a photo camera with fisheye lens in the center of the dome. Right now, it's connected to the media server, which is back there. You won't see it. We're using the laptop right now for managing the whole system, but you can also use iPad in our standard configuration. And you can see image behind me. It is calibrated right now. That's why it's so sharp and cohesive and clear, right? But what we're going to do right now, we're going to stop the image and show you the calibration grid. Yes, yeah, so here is this is how the well-calibrated dome usually looks like. You see that the grid is nice, everything is, it's not doubling, it's like, you know, it's very sharp. So that's okay, you can see entire dome right now. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to show you what usually happens on festivals, exhibitions, live events. We are going to move one of the projectors on purpose right now, right? Let's see, where is it? Okay, now, yeah, you can see that those parts, you see that here the calibration is not really, yeah, this is how it looks okay, but when it's not okay, we move it. It's like you can feel like there is something with your eyesight like this, right? So this is, yeah. So we're going to move the projector right now, and then afterwards start the process of calibration so you can see how it really works. Okay, so it's not aligned now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you can see it here now in this part. So we moved another projector. Okay, okay, so grab yourself a cup of coffee, and we are going to, the only thing you actually need to do is just to push one button on iPad or laptop. Okay, and the process started. You can hear this very kind of specific sound. Yeah, the camera starts to make photos to understand where the end of the screen is, and that's why you can see that the screen is light gray, and then like below the dome you will have a black, kind of a very small, maybe this size, as we call it, technical area, technical skirt. So the screen, so the camera understands where the end of the screen is. Yeah, so it's only geometry will take maybe around 5 minutes. So right now, sometimes 2 minutes. We're always improving, you know, the way. So right now you can see that the camera understands where are the edges of the projectors, like the areas of which each projector covers, right? So we are using 4 projectors here right now. Oh my God, that was so fast. It was not even 2 minutes. It was really fast, yeah. Maybe for the first time. So, and you can see in this part where I pointed over here, the geometry is calibrated, like, well, again, it's all aligned, no, like, you know, doubling, and the whole grid looks back again nice and smooth and cohesive. Yeah, we obviously didn't do right now the colors, blacks and whites, but the main geometry and edge blending was done in less than 2 minutes today. Of course, for the first time, when you're doing it for the first time, it can take a little bit more time, but we're experts, we know how to do it really fast, and we will teach you on the installation process again, right? So I'm going to add Neil back again, so he can comment on our super fast calibration process today. Yeah, and we're going to enjoy. Hi Neil, hi back again.
Hi, that was fast.
Yeah, that was. Have you finished your coffee or not yet?
I have.
Okay, it's just because Neil drinks espresso. That's why. Like I won't be able to finish mine. Okay, so the idea was we wanted to show you how the not calibrated image looks with the image itself, not the grid, but because we're doing it live and on the screen, it won't be that visible. But actually, in the dome, when you can see it, you can see that the image is not sharp. So if you have any comments, Neil, about the calibration process, or maybe you want to comment anything, yeah, go ahead.
The speed of this process is what makes the portable and temporary domes possible, because instead of spending days setting up for a one-day event, we can set up in a very short amount of time. We build the dome, we put the projectors in, and we do a calibration, and we're ready to go. And I know I've been at events with you, Jana, where we've started setting up a dome in the early hours of the morning at 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
We've had an 8-meter dome up with projectors running by around 10 a.m. And this would not have been possible to get that sort of quality of projection previously. But also, I mentioned that it makes permanent domes and permanent projection more affordable, and that's because instead of having to use 2 or 4 very expensive and very large projectors, we can use 8, 12 or 16 relatively inexpensive projectors, and by this auto calibration process, get same quality image at a much lower price.
Yeah, and it won't be a big deal to calibrate 16 projectors, I mean, for the permanent installation, right? Because sometimes, people who are looking for dome systems, they are quite shocked by the number of the projectors which we're using, right? So that's why that was also one of the reasons why we want to show this calibration process here as well.
Once you get those 16 projectors installed and all the cables connected, then calibration is the same really for a 16 projector system or a 4 projector system. No difference. There was a question that popped up while we were doing that calibration using VR and headsets, I think, and how does the dome compare to that? It's a little bit off topic, but yes, VR can do similar things to a dome, but VR is just for one person. And a dome, we can get many people under a dome all watching the same image at once. And right now, people have a bit of a problem sharing things that they're putting on their faces.
Yeah, true.
We don't have that problem in a dome.
Yeah. So yeah, we had one of the live streams, like previous live stream, talking about comparing, dome projection with the VR technology. And also, it's a very good question, by the way, because, many people asking, like how we are connected, or what are the differences between dome and VR. And basically, Neil, is totally true that, VR is more like your private, device, and you can always go to Netflix and watch, any of your favorite TV series or movies at home, but you also miss going out to cinema hall, to be able to really enjoy this social event. And this is what domes provide as well. This is one of the reasons why we call dome theaters as VR theaters, or social VR, or group VR, shared VR, where you can basically come with your friends, with your family, and enjoy this same experience of immersion, but you can still see each other's face. You can, you know, share those emotions. You can see what are the reactions, and you can talk about it. You can discuss it. So it's like more of the shared experience, shared immersive experience. And domes really benefited from the VR development, which is happening right now, due to the fact that the content of the VR and content of the dome are pretty much the same, and we can do the conversion from the VR content, VR titles, and show them on the dome as well. And this really gave a huge advantage to the dome industry in general. And also in our new reality, domes are really very good alternative to the VR headset. Yeah, so if you have any more questions, yeah, thank you for asking that. Yeah, so because it's really like one of the
presentation, they could go to the YouTube channel to see it.
What's that?
If
yeah,
someone
again.
wants to look at that presentation about VR, they could find that on our YouTube channel. Or is it?
I couldn't hear you well, Neil. What was the VR presentation?
If they wanted to see that presentation that we did about VR, they could find that on YouTube.
Yeah, so it's I think this live stream, it's also saved in our in Fulldome.pro account at one of the Instagram videos or something like this, so you can easily go and check it out. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, not last Friday, but before that. Yeah, so go ahead and have a look at it. It gives a lot of information about it. Yeah, and also don't forget that even like about the calibration process, which we discussed today, we have a very nice video with Neil and Tatiana, who are explaining the main, like more technical questions and more technical differences between why, we don't need, let's say, focus that much on calibration on flat screens, but on curved screens it's more challenging to do the calibration and all of those things. You can always go to our YouTube channel to check those videos. And about VR content and VR headsets and domes, there are also several videos which explain a lot about differences in technologies and other things. Yeah. So if you still have any more questions, please send us an email, say hi on any of our social medias. We will be glad to answer. But I think for today, we can call it a wrap, right?
I think so.
Yeah. All right, so we will show you for some time a little bit of the video on the dome. Yeah. Here, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And join us for the next live stream. Thank you, Neil, for explaining in details all of the process of calibration.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll talk to you soon, right?
Yep.
Okay. Bye. Thank you for joining, guys. See you next time.